Hello everyone, welcome to this 16th video on Python. In this video, we'll discuss how we can customize our plots in Python as per our requirement. So if you see this figure, this is from matplotlib library cheat sheet, and matplotlib library is the widely used library to create plots in Python. So we'll get into the details of the plot, but yeah, you can see on my screen the different parts of any plot. So you see these are major tick, these are minor tick, these are major tick label, this is y-axis label, this is the figure area. Again, similarly you have minor tick level and minor ticks and major ticks on x-axis as well. Then this is a line plot, this is the title, this is legend, these are the grids, and this is again a line plot, and this is scatter plot. These are called spines and these are called axis. So these are the few important parts of any plot. So now let's get into the Jupyter notebook. So these links are available in this notebook, and I'll be sharing this notebook on my GitHub repo, and I'll share the link as well as a comment to this particular video. And beside this, I have a few other links as well, and these are related to selecting colors, because whenever you create any chart, actually you need to change color as per the requirement, so or as per the uh, colored criteria used in our organization. To select the light color, you can use these links, and then you can select the light color from the codes available or the names available on these links. So if you see on my screen, there are different shades and the names of the color available here. So based on your requirement, you can choose any of these colors and you can use it in your plot. Okay. So now let's jump into the Jupyter notebook, and here we'll start by loading the required libraries and reading this file, sleep data and lifestyle data set.csv. And this data set is available on Kaggle, and link is also provided here at the top. Okay, and then we do these few standard steps, like looking at the head of the data set, our first few rows. Then we also check the shape of the data frame. We also check the data types of different columns available in the data frame, and we also look at the if there is any values in the data frame, which we see there is none. And with this describe function, we also get some summary of the numeric columns of the data frame. So we get to know the count, mean, standard deviation, minimum, 25th, 58th, 75th percentile, as well as the maximum values. So let's start by summarizing the data set count of record by occupation. So for that, we'll first do value count, reset index to change the name of the column to count. And after that, we are just renaming the index column to occupation. So with that, we'll get this data frame where we have the occupation and the number of record. So we can see that for nurse this is 73, for doctor it is 71, for engineer it is 63, like that. Now we'll create a bar plot where we'll add labels, and we can modify the background color, we can change the title. We'll see how we can do this. We can change the x label, y label, ticks, and if required we can also add a horizontal and a vertical line. So that we also do sometimes in our chart to highlight a few important things, or maybe to add a constant line and observe if bars are above or below that particular constant line. So for that, and to add labels actually in the on the bars, this function is added at the top, which is add labels. So what it does is that for for it will actually run a for loop, and then till all the values in x, it will add text values to the plot. We'll see, we'll get into the details of function later on, but yeah. So let's start doing the plot. So here, if you see, we start with plot plt dot figure, and plt is actually coming from here. So the matplotlib library that we have loaded here, import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. So we load this library as plt. So whenever we are actually writing plt, we are actually calling this. Similarly to for pandas, when we use any function from pandas, we do pd dot something like that. For example, here it is pd dot read csv. Similarly, it is plot dot something like that we will be using. Okay, so plt dot something. So if you see here, so we are starting with specifying the size of the figure. So it is 10 comma 5, like that we are specifying the size of the figure. Then after that, you can also set the background color. So for that, you'll use plt.gca.set face color, and here I have chosen the color to be lavender. The next step is creating the bar plot. So to create the bar plot, what I'm doing is that I'm taking this summarized data, which is data occupation underscore data underscore occupation underscore count. Okay, because we are using matplotlib here, and we want to get the count. So I'm taking this data frame, and then I'm taking the first column, which is occupation, the second column, which is the count. So this occupation is on the x-axis, count is on the y-axis. And then I'm saying color, where the first would be the green and the rest of the color would be light blue. So color is again an array here where it starts with green and then light blue is repeated 10 times. Why I have done 10 times? Because if you see, the number of records here is 11. So we have 11 different types of occupation. So when I'm specifying the color, I am just highlighting the first one to be green, because I want to actually keep the highlight the largest bar in a different color to specify that, yeah, this particular occupation type has the highest count. So that is why it is done like that. And then to add labels, I'm using this function add labels. So you see, add label function is used, and on the x argument is the occupation and the y argument here is the count. So it will add actually labels to the chart. Then I am giving title to the plot, so it is count by occupation, and here also you can actually change the format of the title as well. So you can make it bold, italics, you can do something like that, and you can also specify the color for this title as well. So I've added a few values here, so that it gives you a sense that, yeah, these all can also be changed. Similarly, x and y label also, you can mention whatever you want to mention there. So here I've mentioned x label to be occupation, weight again bold, color brown, y label count, weight bold, color dim gray. So again, these color names will get in those links which I have provided at the top. And now you can also modify the ticks. So x ticks I have made rotation equal to 90 degree, and color red and weight equal to bold. White ticks color magenta, weight bold. So if you see it, this is magenta color and bold as well, x sticks. And if you see, these are all 90 degrees. So by default, it would be like this. You'll have nurse, doctor, engineer. And because some of these names are quite lengthy, so it will not look proper in this scenario. So that's why it's better to actually rotate these x sticks so that we get the proper X levels here. Okay. Now, if you do all this, you'll get a chart like this where we have this X level, Y level available. The stick names are also actually uh, properly aligned. We have a title, we have specified the background color, and we have also highlighted the first bar to be green. Okay, so all these things are done along with these labels which are added here. Now, if you want to highlight something, for example, if you want to mention that, yeah, these are the count, but what is the average count per occupation type? If you want to add a horizontal line highlighting that, or if you want to actually, uh, maybe it's not very much relevant here, but yeah, if you have some uh, for some other kind of chart, especially on scattered plot, if you want to break it into four quadrants, then you need maybe a vertical line as well. But yeah, just to see how we can add these lines, so here you can see that if you have to add a horizontal line, you can use these lines of code. So it's plt.axh line, where you mention at what y level we want to add the line. So y equal to 60, so there is a horizontal line at this level, color is blue, and line style is like this. Okay. Now, other way also you can highlight, you can add a line, and there you can mention this line. You can actually shorten this line as well. So with this code, you are getting a line from one end to the other, but with this code, it will start with nurse and end at lawyer. So it would be like that as well. Vertical line, I've just mentioned that, yeah, a doctor, I want this line, and vertical line also you can actually specify if you just want to add a smaller line, maybe starting at 0 but ending at 100, something like that. And at the end, you will just have to add this plt.show, and then you will actually get the plot here. Okay, so let's try out a few things. So maybe if I just comment this line statement, and if I comment this label statement as well. Okay, so then if I run this code again, let's see how the plot looks like. You see, now we don't have any labels, and those x and y lines have also disappeared. So again, it's purely on the basis of the requirement. You can modify this. So now if I want to highlight something at maybe y equal to 50, starting from nurse to lawyer, if I just want to add a horizontal line there. So let's see how it looks like. You see, there is now a small horizontal line which starts from nurse till lawyer, and it is at y equal to 50 value. So if you want to highlight something like that, you can do that. Similarly, you can change it for vertical line as well, and this line style also. You do have these options to modify the line styles as well. So okay, so these are the few important points that you need to keep in mind. So for each of these parts of the plot, you have some specific functions which you use. You can modify the plot exactly as per your requirement. Okay, now let's move ahead. Now what if you have to create a bar plot again, count by occupation, but you want to actually break it down by gender as well. Okay, and then the plot should be side by side. So we have seen that earlier as well in, I think, plotting by using pandas as well, but let's see how we can do it here. So we'll use the similar kind of steps here, where after grouping on occupation and gender and taking the count, we'll again unstack this data frame so that we have two separate columns for female and male. Okay. Now to plot this, we'll start with We'll just specify the width of the bars here. That also can be modified. So I just want to highlight that. So you can also modify the width of your plot as well. And then index are all occupations. So whatever occupations we have, those are all index on the x-axis. And then we are specifying the figure size here. So what we are going to do here is that we'll add one bar, and then we'll add another bar. So first we are adding a bar where the x is all index only, but the y is only the female values. So all those female values are first here, you can see in the plot. Okay, so we are adding a bar first with female values where the width is bar width, which we have specified at the top, and the label is female, and the color is pink. Then we are adding a second bar. So in this way you can understand, actually you can add a few more bars as well, so that won't be a problem. But yeah, this is the process. So the second bar is again index plus bar width. So those bars should start with index plus width of the bar. So it should start at the end of the first bar, and then the values would be, so first we had female, now we'll have male. The width remains the same, label is male, and color is different here, so it's dark golden rod. Okay, and all these names are again available in that sheet, in that link which I have added to this Jupyter notebook at the top. Then we have a few familiar steps like adding the title, X label, Y label. If you want to show the legend, you will click, you will add this plt.legends, then X ticks. So these adjustment needs to be done so that the X tick is at the right position. So it's at index plus bar width by 2. So it would be in the middle of these two bars. Okay, so that's why you can modify this X ticks location as well, and the rotation is also mentioned here as 90 degree. And then you have this plot dot show. So we'll get a beautiful chart with separate bars for female and male. Now again, if you have to create a bar plot with stacked numbers for male and female, that can also be easily done. So again, we are starting with the same. We have bar width, the index, the plot figure. Now how we are handling this? So first of all, again you will do plt dot bar index female, bar width, label, color. It's quite straightforward. In the next bar, where you want to actually add male above the female bars, so this x-axis is index, it's quite clear. Y-axis is male, quite clear. Bar width remains the same because here one value will be on the top of the other. Label is male, color is dark golden rod. This argument becomes very important here. So bottom is data sum dot female. So it means that the male values will start at the end of the female values. Okay, so that's why these female bars will be below and the male bars will be at the top. Okay, and then you can add this plot plt dot title, X label, Y label. You can add legend, and here again you actually you don't have to do much modifications here, but yeah, just to rotate this, maybe you will have to just mention the X ticks. So it will at the index position, and you are pulling the values from occupation. Okay, X ticks at index position, you are pulling the values from occupation, and it would all be rotated by 90 degrees. And you can also limit this y axis as well from 0 to 80 only. So this is just to highlight that yeah, you can do the same to x axis as well if you are plotting something else, but it may not be relevant here. But yeah, and then when you do show the plot, this is how it looks like. Okay, so we have one bar on the top of the another bar. Now we can achieve the same another way as well. So what we have to do here is like we'll summarize the data in this way. So we'll group the data by occupation and gender, and we'll take the count, and we'll just do reset index. Okay. So with this we have, for accountant, we have two rows, one for female and male, and we have these numbers. So like that we have two rows for each of these occupation, one for female and one for male, and we have a count. Now using this form of data, we can also create a stacked bar chart. And for that, so we'll start with the figure size and we'll set face color as per our requirement. This line becomes very important. So what we are doing here is like, again we are using plt dot bar. On the x-axis we have this occupation, on the y-axis we have the count. We are just playing with this color argument here. Okay, so we are using this list of values here for color, and we are specifying that color would be red if gender is female, otherwise it would be light blue for gender in data sum dot gender. Okay, so the color will actually change based on the type of value available in the gender column. So if you again look at this data frame which is created here, you have this occupation column and the gender column. So for each of this, for example, for accountant, if you see, there is a bar, and we have 36 female and one male. So it will go through this column, all those females it will color it as red, and all the males it will color it as light blue. So you can see that even after creating a plot of your choice, you have a lot of options to modify things in your plot. And then there are different ways to actually achieve get the same result using different libraries as well. So here we focused on the matplotlib library, and we have seen how we can modify the different parts of the plot using this particular library. So I hope you'll find this video useful. Do subscribe my channel, like my video, and share it amongst your friends. See you in the next video. Thank you.